Yeah, welcome to the Racer X Exhaust Podcast, brought to you by Yoshimura. Over 6 decades of four-stroke exhaust research and development. Check them out at yoshimura-rd.com. New website looks awesome. Also looking good, this really cool dual sport project bike put together by Honda HRC factory rider Cole Seeley. As you'll find out in today's podcast, Cole actually did the real bike work himself. He didn't just roll it in to the race shop and say, hey guys, put works parts on this. He built this bike with his own hands in his own garage. That includes putting a Yoshimura exhaust on it. However, Yoshimura doesn't make an exhaust for the dual sport Honda 450L. So he just put one from the X, the Enduro model of the Honda 450 on there and tried it. User discretion. You know, when you're building project bikes and you're one of the first to do it, sometimes you got to experiment and hope for the best. Exhaust looks good on there. And then Cole took his dual sport to the Honda Supercross test track and really did laps with it. I cannot believe this. You can check it all out on his YouTube channel. Also, we talked to Cole in this podcast about his 2019 season, bouncing back from massive injuries last year that were absolutely career-threatening. And he has a bit of a new philosophy on racing and results in general because of that. I got to talk to Cole at press day for the Thunder Valley Supercross on Friday. You'll probably hear some 125 two-strokes in the background because they were practicing as we were talking. Also, a shout-out, of course, to Racer X. Make sure you subscribe to the magazine. All of the information in it is completely different than what we post either online or on social media. Exclusive stories, and we're working on new ones right now. And we have a Father's Day special. If you subscribe for your dad, we'll give you 6 free issues of our new digital edition for you for free. And it's revolutionary. It's awesome. It looks great on your phone. It's like scrolling through Instagram, but instead it's the pages of the magazine. So I highly recommend that. Go to racerxonline.com/thanksdad for the Father's Day promotion. Get the magazine for him. Get the magazine for you at no extra charge. Sounds good, right? So does it. Podcast. Yeah! All right, let's get into it with Cole Seeley. First of all, I think a couple years ago I did a podcast with you and you talked about how you like doing stuff different off the track. You were like doing some leather working or woodworking or something. But now you're into bikes.
Yeah.
You're really working on this angle.
Yeah. So, I mean, with the, over the past few years, I've really been kind of seeing a really big interest on the car side of things with YouTube. Yeah. So I was like, let's be honest, you got to know your audience. My audience doesn't care about cars. Right. I like to kind of dabble in that a little bit, but yeah. I just thought, what can I do different to bring to the table that really nobody's done? And I guess from a professional standpoint, we're known to not know how to work on bikes. So I know how to do it. I came from being a privateer and getting motors shipped to me and having to put them in myself and take them out. And, I know how it goes. So I hadn't done something this, detailed in a while because I haven't done that since it was carbureted. And
I'm impressed you even did it, though.
Not only that, but, we have the normal engine harness or wiring harness, and then you got all the emission plugs and all the light plugs, and then from the radiators forward looks like a rat's nest. So yeah, it was I was in a little bit over my head, but we got it done and had to Google image search a few different pictures of 450L stripped down, but nobody had really done it before, so I was really kind of on my own.
Okay, see, that's where people would probably be surprised. They would probably think you have all of Honda at your disposal. I don't even know if you could have, but you didn't.
I did. Yeah. Like I told one of our mechanics, Tommy, I was like, hey, I might need you to come over to my house because I might not know how to do this. Yeah. But luckily never had to make that call. But I did kind of have them at my disposal if I needed them, but I didn't end up needing them.
Well, that's the whole point. You really did it, not using the connections that you had.
Oh, I did it all on my own. I mean, with my buddy Mikey, he helped me get some of the parts colored and pull some strings, and just kind of when I was gone racing, he would do the footwork for me, so that was really cool having his help. But yeah, I mean, building the bike up myself was I don't know, it was an interesting task for me. It's something that I was really open to the challenge. Then I got the whole thing stripped down, and I was like, sent the frame away to get anodized, the swing arm, and then it had been 5 weeks, and I was like, I don't really remember how I took this apart.
Great. Yeah.
Luckily, I have videos on my phone actually of me being like, hey, this this connected here and this runs here. So
wow.
And then I'd be like, good luck, it's future self.
Factory Honda Cole Seeley had to teach himself via his phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, nobody had really like put any, I don't know, directions up on, you know, how where things go. And I mean, it's obvious where things go, but like the wiring harness was my main concern. I mean, everything else is pretty self-explanatory. As long as, like, I would label everything before I'd put it away. So
obviously for Honda it would seem an awesome marketing tool, but how does that work? Do they even say, hey, great? Do they even care? Do they encourage it? How does it even work?
I don't really know. I thought it would be too. I get so many DMs and comments on my YouTube channel like I'm sold, like Honda needs to double your salary because I'm buying one of these things, like, and I laugh at that kind of stuff. It's cool. It's really cool. Like I love connecting with the fans that way, but honestly, I don't think they were as stoked as I thought they would be, because like the way I look at it is like, oh, hey, one of our riders is not just showing the grind of the same old thing, going to the test track, going on a mountain bike ride, going to the gym. You know, I wanted to be different, and I wanted to, in a sense, be a trailblazer in that kind of way. So I don't know. I'd expected a little bit more love from some sponsors, but it is, you know, I don't do it for that reason. So I did it to kind of make a connection with my fans and entertain them in a way.
Well, that's good to know. It was like for pure reasons. Like you just thought it would be cool, and you just wanted to do it, and that's the only reason you did it. It wasn't because there was necessarily even a dollar amount attached to any of this.
No, absolutely not. Really, I put my own money into it. I spent probably a few grand on the bike, you know, getting stuff colored and paying for my own suspension parts because, you know, it's not KYB stuff. You know, we have our ties with Showa, but I had to pay to get it all colored and certain parts and this and that. But I had a lot of help along the way. And again, like I paid for the entire premiere. Well, not the entire thing. Me and my friend Mikey, who started Bleachworks, who helped me along the way. We split the premiere cost, the filmer cost. You know, it was expensive too. It was about $3 to $4 grand for the whole thing. So that was out of my own pocket. Didn't really want to go after any of my sponsors to help out with that. I just, you know, they do enough for me, and I wanted to kind of do this on my own. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a pure reason. I just really wanted to show my fans that, like, hey, I'm not just a everyday racer.
I think fans are confused also because they think that all these things, social media and marketing and all this stuff matters. But from what I know, talking to teams, they're still pretty much results oriented.
Yeah, they are. They really are. I think we're late to the punch with that kind of stuff.
I agree.
You know, but we got guys like Axel Hodges and certain people that definitely are, you know, on the front of that. You know, they're kind of they got to put out these videos and do this in order to, you know, have sponsors, which is really cool. And I think that's almost more valuable than results in a way. Like I said before, like people were direct messaging me like, hey, like I was on the fence about getting this bike, but now I'm definitely getting one. Like, you know, so that's, you know, instantaneous, I don't know, turnover right there.
Yeah, but we just hear so much about influencers, and then the odd thing is, like, a lot of you are influencers. Yeah. You're like young dudes who do cool stuff and have a lot of followers, but it's not necessarily resulting in thousands of extra dollars, either rolling your way or to your team.
No,
it's weird.
Yeah, it is weird, and I think with Honda, it's such a big company. You know, we have the racing side, and the marketing side, and I'm involved in the racing side. You know, not the marketing. So, I don't know. I don't know the exact black and white of, you know, how all that translates. But like I said, I just wanted to do it because it was fun, and I would love to, you know, do YouTube stuff, you know, after I'm done racing and still be attached to the sport in a way. So that's that was just kind of an option for me, and like I said, I had fun with it. On
the other end, though, like, they didn't also say don't do it or you're not allowed or this would look bad for some reason. I had
definitely had like certain guidelines I had to abide by. Like, I have to use sponsors that I'm affiliated with, like Yoshimura, Throttle Jockey. All those guys were, you know, no hesitation, wanted to be a part of it. Big E was super helpful in the whole process, and the guys from Throttle Jockey, I was really happy with all their help. But also, you know, it's not like I can't go throw a random set of graphics on the thing. I either have to run completely stock graphics or I have to run all of our logos on the graphic kit. So
I see.
With the gray, they're calling it the gray area graphic kit now with Throttle Jockey. I told them, hey, I want black and white, and I want gray numbers or gray backgrounds, and I really wanted to put my own touch to our factory graphics. So
right.
I just had to be mindful of sponsors and relationships with the team.
But it's not like some lawyer said, we will never allow a dual sport to be seen in a Supercross track. You can't do this.
Well, it's funny because I asked Eric Keogh, hey, can I go ride my dual sport on the Supercross track? Because it was only supposed to be a small part of the video. And then we just kind of went wild with it. Now, once I got there, I was like, I can do the whole track. I can literally. You really did
not know what was going to happen?
No, I didn't, because I built the bike and I was like, I really hadn't started it with the pipe and some of the delete stuff that I did, and I was like, I don't know how it's going to run. I'll just go there and kind of, because we were going to make that a small part of the video.
Yeah.
It was going to be you can ride this thing to the trails, and then you can ride it at the motocross track, and then you can ride it at the Supercross track. Well, as soon as we got to the Supercross track, things kind of changed, and I was like, I'm riding. This is going to be a big part of the video because it looks cool. It's funny, right?
I couldn't believe it.
But when I first got on the track, the thing's so much heavier because of all the lights and mission stuff, and so when I saw the footage, I was cracking up, seeing the kickstand and the light going through the whoops.
The fender is flapping.
Yeah,
it's got stuff attached to it.
Yeah, it was funny, but it was a fun project, and we had a fun crew.
So that was seriously you were just getting on the bike in its finished form and went to the Supercross track.
The day before I started it up, I was like, I should probably make sure this thing runs. Well, the thing was, it had a thermostat in it, and I couldn't ride it because I couldn't figure out how to bleed the coolant system with the thermostat in order to get coolant through the whole thing. And then I had a buddy call me. They're like, hey, there's a thermostat delete kit. So I was like, okay, cool. I'd rather have that from riding on the track anyways, in case something fails. So we got that put on the 2 days before, and then I rode it around to make sure everything was properly functioning, and then we went out and rode Supercross on the next day.
I don't think anyone would believe it's this rudimentary. It's just Cole Seeley in his garage going for it. It's not an army of mechanics and techs and people around.
I think people thought that the engine was tampered with.
I would assume.
Yeah, and it's a bone stock engine just with an exhaust and stock ECU, no reflash because you can't.
Yeah. And
just minor bolt-ons.
And the suspension, you did not take your Supercross suspension and bolt it.
No, Supercross suspension, it was a stock 450L upper tubes.
Yeah.
Stock 450L shock body, just revalved for Supercross, and then some actually. It's actually stiffer than my Supercross setting because the bike's so heavy.
Right.
But it handled so good in the whoops. I was literally coming into the whoops, third gear wide open as fast as the bike would go, laughing because I knew I couldn't upset the bike. It handled so good, and I had DOT 605 Dunlop tires on there. I think that was part of the reason it handled so good in the whoops because it was really, really dry on the day I rode it, and the bigger tire I think was a little bit of cushion suspension. Right. I think it got a little bit extra grip, and like I said, I was laughing. I couldn't go through those whoops fast enough. I was just wide open.
Dude, I have a dual sport with that exact same tire, and I blame that tire for sucking. And then I saw that, and I'm like, he's doing Supercross laps. Yeah. I guess it's me. It's not the tire.
I hit a dragon's back in a finish line on mine, so.
Yeah, I got zero excuses. Now, you're going to do more? Did I see you bought another bike?
Yeah, so I just bought a bone stock 2003 CR250 two-stroke.
Oh, boy.
And I'm trying to get my hands on some factory parts. I don't know what they got there at Honda, but
right.
Yeah, the plan is build it or strip it down. Same thing I did with the L and rebuild it. I need to do that anyways because it's such an old bike.
Yeah.
Looks like it was babied its whole life, but I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Right.
And then the end goal with that is to race at a straight year at the Midden of the year.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's funny is Jeremy from Red Bull showed me. He's like, check this out. So he shows me the YouTube video last week. You had 514 likes and 0 dislikes. Yeah. Has there ever been a video on YouTube with 100% approval rating?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what he said that to me too, and I was like, yeah, dude, people love the two-stroke. I got comments on my YouTube, I got DMs on my Instagram like, next build needs to be a 250 two-stroke, and I've always wanted to build one. I've literally only ridden a 250 two-stroke one time. I was in that generation where they were kind of fading away. You went like 80s, and then you'd use the 125 as like a stepping stone to get on the 252 stroke or 254 stroke. And then you just went 454 stroke. So you've never really saw the 252 stroke. And the only reason I ever rode one is because my 254 stroke broke one day. And a friend lent me his bike for the day when I was an amateur. And I had so much fun on it, but I never really had the opportunity to get one. And nowadays everyone wants too much for them. And I just kind of stumbled upon this, this bike. It was literally 3 miles from my house was for sale. So I ran over there and grabbed it real quick. The guy had no idea who I was.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And it was awesome. I'm really excited for that build to come along.
And again, no one at Honda said, you can't do this.
No, I guess they didn't really ask, but they were...
You would know by now.
I'd know by now, for sure. And I don't know. I think they're just happy with the extra exposure that I get for them. And I don't know. It's just like they know who I am. They know what I love to do, kind of outside of motocross. So, yeah.
Okay, but here's the problem that every rider who does anything outside of just showing grinding, there's instantly someone's going to be like, you should just focus on training, dude. So have you gotten that also as a side effect?
Yeah, definitely. But I don't care.
Okay.
It's like, oh, we'd rather see you on the podium. It's like, you don't think I'm trying? Like, I don't know. There's only so much you can do during the week to get ready for the race. You know, if I take a half hour out of my week to make a 10-minute YouTube video, it's not going to make a difference. So,
well, that's what I was going to get at. I mean, you cannot train 14 straight hours, right?
No.
When you were not doing these things, were there just hours of the day where you're like, yeah, I just got to sit on this couch and relax?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think a lot of people don't understand is if you work too hard during the week, you burn out by the weekend. All the work's done during the preseason. So, yeah, there's certain ways you can, better yourself during the week, but training 100 hours a week is not one of them. So, I would honestly just probably be posted up on the couch or going to the therapist or working on a past injury or something like that. But like I said, I work on the bike probably a maximum of 2 hours a week or something like that. I work on a video and it's like 12 to 15 minutes of content that I put on YouTube. So it's whatever. I think the scale is definitely favored, with like fans being happy of seeing that, I have an extra hobby and something that they're interested in too. And honestly, it's a way that they can live vicariously through me. Like, not everybody can go pick up a 450L, get factory parts for their suspension and go ride a Supercross track. Yeah. So the people that I make happy doing that, awesome. The haters, whatever. I don't really care. Those guys can unfollow me, don't watch the video, whatever. I don't really care.
Yeah, we will never see a dual sport on a Supercross track. We've certainly never seen it before. We might not ever see it again. So yeah, it's cool you did that.
I literally rode it from my house to the track, and then rode it on the Supercross track. So that was
There's no trick photography in this video. What we saw was it.
That was it. Yeah, I mean, like literally, like the camera crew was following me, but I was riding the bike to the track. It was a pretty funny experience.
Okay, now we'll get to the serious racing part of the year. I'm sure that it wasn't in Supercross exactly what you wanted. Were you second in points last year when you went out?
Yep.
Right. So we know what level that you'd want to be.
Yeah.
How would you rate it? How did it go?
It was okay. I don't know. It's hard to explain because I'm used to like lining up every week, going through footage and preparing myself like, okay, what do I have to do to win? And just this year, like, it wasn't really in the cards. Like, I really had to be okay with the top 8 performances and like really just try and better myself each week. And I wasn't happy. I was really, really miserable the entire season, like just being okay with that and trying to like better myself. I'd never really been in that position, but then again, I'd never really taken so much time off the bike and so much time off of training. Usually like I get a shoulder injury or something like that and I can, get it taped up and I can still train. I can modify my mountain bike to ride on the road or do something creative to still stay in shape. But this was like, hey, I got to be in a wheelchair for 2 months. I got to be off the bicycle for 4 months. And I had no idea what I was going to lose in those 4 months. So it was devastating at times. I was really, really struggling there, but I had a good team. I still do, obviously, making sure that I was happy and doing what they can to help me. But it was a struggle, really, really big struggle, and something that was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to overcome in my career.
Give me an idea of like something training wise where you're like, whoa, I'm on the bicycle, I was this far off, or in the gym or something. Yeah. Like, give me a number or a specific where it's like, holy crap, did I lose a lot?
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, it's hard because I never really like set benchmarks before. It was never like, oh, I can do this loop in this fast, in this amount of time. So I need to know that because when I get hurt in 6 months, so I never really like went through that, but I could just tell, like right when I was on the bicycle for about a month, and it was a struggle to get an hour ride in. I was just like, muscles were sore.
Yeah, and
I was tired. And it's hard too because you constantly feel flat. Like you push yourself.
Yeah.
And then you gain a little bit, but then it's like, oh, I feel so flat. The next week, it's hard to push yourself to the next step. You really got to like walk the fine line. At least I did, and really struggle to make those gains during the preseason, and then entering the real season, the Supercross. Those guys had been training all summer long, had the entire 4 month period to really gain, and I was just like, so far behind the 8 ball, and I really didn't expect that, and didn't really know how to mentally go through that. But I don't know. I there was a point last year where I was really considering retirement, so I never really would have known. You know, if I had hung it up last year, I never really would have known what the future would have held, and I'm just glad I answered all the questions I needed to coming back. And
for yourself? For
myself. I don't really, some fans are really supportive. Some are like, what are you doing? You know, why, what happened?
Yeah.
But nobody really knows except for me and the people in my corner, what I had to go through, what I am still going through and fighting back from that injury.
So the training part was hard. And then what was it like when you started riding again? Did that come quickly, or was that also like, man, that's going to be hard?
That was a struggle. Yeah. I remember like going to the track and like really struggling to go do like 3 15-minute motos, like get there, do a 15-minute warm-up. I was like, man, that's only 15 minutes. Like really, really struggling with it. And my pelvis actually held up fine. It was my shoulder. I've really been struggling with that. And I think I might have had a little bit of a neck injury to where I'm still I had an MRI done 2 weeks ago. I've been kind of keeping it under wraps, but had an MRI done and just really wanted to see, because I've injured my right shoulder before, and everything looked fine on the MRI. Just
right.
My right hand's been kind of going numb. I've been dealing with that all year. Again, I've been keeping that under wraps, but I think it's stemming from my neck. So I'm trying to get all that sorted out, trying to better myself. It's been kind of a shit show. So I'm trying to fight back. I'm trying to improve myself, but it's a struggle. But I'm having fun. Like I said, I get to do cool things like build my L, and I got a cool fan base and really good people around me, so I'm making the best of it.
Yeah, so you've had to almost, like you said, adjust to, okay, this year's going to be tough.
Yeah.
If I'm not getting on the podium, I can't be super mad. Yeah. I would assume you could make things worse if you try to do too much too soon.
Yeah.
Or train too hard or ride too hard.
Yeah, exactly. And that's been a really, really tough balance for me. I've never really, I've always been like, okay, I did this last year, how am I going to better myself for the next year? And then it keeps, I've never been like, where I go take a step backwards.
Yeah.
I've never had a year like that. Well, a ginormous step backwards, I should say.
Right.
I've always kind of like been in that top 5 group, the Supercross, and I've had struggles in the outdoor season, but like 17 was my last outdoor season, and I got top 5, and I really like felt like I was finally establishing myself as an outdoor rider. Got invited to Motocross Nations.
Yep.
And, so I took a ginormous step back in 2018 and just have been fighting with it.
Well, yeah, because you just literally the year before, like you raced all the nationals and the nations, you must have had such a head of steam physically.
Yeah.
Specifically, the 2 years, 18 to 19, must have been the biggest difference of all.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like I said, it was just a big step backwards, and I've just been fighting with dealing with that.
Now, how do you deal with like the pressure of eventually you've got to feel some pressure to get results? How do you square up with that?
I don't know. It's been tough. Like I said, just I know I have to get results. That's what I'm hired to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's great that I was able to come back. It's great that we're making progress. But at some point, I do have to get. And I'm past that point now where I got to get results. But that's just struggling. Like I said though, like I really have to look at the positive. That's the only thing that's gotten me through it. And knowing that like. I would have had so many questions this year if I would have hung it up, and knowing like, okay, I came back, I did everything I could and then some to make sure that I was ready for the season, and I didn't quit. I didn't let an injury define me. I came back and I don't know, that makes me proud more than anything. So what happens in the future, we'll see. But like I said, that I'm just glad that I came back, and I'm glad even I don't know, just this year alone, this has just been a year where I've made a statement for myself, and that's all that really matters to me.
Is there any point where it was even like just scary to jump the big rhythms and all that?
Oh yeah, it still is.
Oh, it still is?
Yeah, it definitely still is. Yeah, like I think Seattle this year especially, there was some pretty big rhythms, and I was like, I'm not jumping them. Like I can do this lap time going this fast. I'm just going to stick to that.
Right.
And I still had a good race, but last year trying to go for that quad and having the injury that I had, and these bikes are so fast, and there's no regulation to it. There's no regulation to how big we're building the jumps. I mean, there is a standard to it, but no regulation. We can quad things so easily now, even at the test tracks and everywhere. So it's just
done a bit.
So I don't know. It's scary. It's terrifying. But everyone's doing it. But I just really gotta, I gotta be selfish in a way. I gotta, the results might not be there, but I'm not getting hurt again. So I don't know. It's tough.
I think yours last year was one of the scariest ever because it was a super gnarly jump. But you were, what was you, maybe second place in the heat race at the time or something like that?
I was right behind
third.
Eli.
Right.
And
you had to do it.
I had to do it. I was in second place in points.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I'm going to make any points up on Jason, then I got to do this.
Yes.
And I was behind Eli, and I said to myself, like, okay, Eli is a very good rider. He's consistent, and he did it in front of me the lap before. I was like, if I'm going to follow anybody off this thing, Eli's definitely going to be one of those guys. So I just gave it just not enough and came up short. And it was really a freak accident. I mean, if the bike hadn't caught me, then I really only suffered a separated shoulder. But the way that the bike literally only landed on me, not even the ground, it just hurt.
Yeah, but it's that you weren't doing it for any other reason. That's like the natural level of racing. Like if you want to be at the front, that's what you're going to have to do.
Exactly, and that I don't even think that was the craziest track we've ever come up on. That was one of the more simple tracks where, that was a pretty gnarly rhythm, but the rest of the track was pretty easy. I remember Phoenix last year, like Blake Baggett going out and jumping it was like a 3-on, a huge 3-on, and then a huge 3-off, and I was like, holy crap, I can't believe we're doing this right now. It was literally everything my bike had. So there's just rhythm sections like that where maybe when they're creatively building the tracks, they're not really even thinking about that, but
sure,
as competitive as our class is, when we see something like that can out edge somebody, and then somebody does it in practice, and then it's like okay, well, we all have footage, so we all see it and we all take it back to the truck and like, okay, this guy did that, go do it. It's like, holy crap, I can't believe some of the stuff we're doing. So
was that even a little scary before the crash? So do you consider that a strength of yours, or is there always that, even before last year, was there always that moment of like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to jump this?
I didn't really have that fear before, to be honest. Yeah, like I almost like I'd show up to the practice track even and be like, okay, what can we jump? What can we quad?
You liked it?
Yeah, it was fun because I mean, it's just amazing. It really is how fast and how far we can jump these bikes, and literally with no run up. So that was something that I would always have fun with, especially with like riding with like Justin Brayton at the test track. We were always like, who can quad something first? And you'd always kind of catch it out of the corner of your eye, like, damn it, like he did it first. And kind of took pride in that, but now I don't. You were always, your better results always came in Supercross and outdoors, but is there a chance you see where like, hey, it's early in the year, maybe I can get something going here and maybe salvage the whole season? I mean, I've had a rough start, but I've had some speed. Like that's definitely, I had some bad starts last week, but I had a lot of speed. So if I can just keep building on that and get better starts, I actually felt like I've gotten in a lot better shape this outdoor season coming into it than I have been in past years. Then just kind of racing my way into shape and maybe just ignoring myself when I tell myself I'm tired. Maybe I've gotten better at that or something, but I don't know. I'm getting there and I'm building, and go to Florida in a week and a half here and start training out there. So I'm just gonna enjoy it. I'm having more fun on the bike right now than I have, and just racing or just riding itself. Like today, pinning around this flat Lakewood track was a lot of fun. So just enjoying the year.
Here's what it almost sounds like. It's almost like you're on bonus time. Like you could have not been here, so you're going to enjoy it, and you're not going to be bummed because you're not taking it for granted anymore, because you know how difficult this is or how quickly it could be gone, and the fact that you're still doing it seems like it's almost made it more fun in a way, like a bonus.
Yeah, I guess that's a really good way to put it. Yeah, it's like I said, I didn't let the injury define me, and I've taken a lot of pride in that this year.
Do you know, like, you're like, I'm in for 5 years now or 10 years, or is it just like I'm taking it 1 year at a time? Do you know what comes next? Now that you've proven that to yourself, that you at least aren't done because of an injury? Or have you not looked that far?
I don't know. I got some calls to make here in the next few months too, and then kind of go from there. But we'll see. I don't know. I mean, the main thing is like, I just want to focus on race by race and put in results. Like I said before, that's what I'm hired to do is get the results now. And now that I'm kind of past that, like, oh, that injury was so gnarly phase, I really need to focus on getting results and trying to make my team happy. And I got a lot of people that put a lot of work into me too, so I really want to make them proud.
I see. And my last thing is, again, what the fans probably don't realize is it's not like when you come here, if you don't get a podium, they're like yelling at you the next weekend. Like everything I've always seen teams, like they're going to try and be cool to the final day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I got 10th last weekend, which isn't great, but you know, we spent the whole entire week trying to find more speed and find better bike settings. And even today, like being at elevation, they're trying to find these combos to give me as much power as I can get, and trying to set the suspension up as best we can. You know, it's not like they give up on you after a bad weekend. So thankfully,
right, that's right. So that's our show with Cole Seely. I always say, racing a motorcycle professionally does sound like the coolest job in the world, and the riders will tell you that it's not really glamorous at all. The risk you're taking, the work you're putting in, it's hard to actually have fun with it. But I feel like if you're someone like Cole Seely, where having a factory deal and making it, so to speak, in this sport was certainly not a guarantee. I mean, he was as far off the radar as you could have possibly gotten back in his day. At one point in an amateur, he'd even quit the sport entirely. This was not destiny. So I think it does help that you have a guy in this case that has some perspective. He doesn't take it for granted. And I think he knows that it's not going to last forever. He's not going to be a factory Honda rider for 15 years or 10 years. There's going to be a slice of his life where he was a racer, and that was his job. And I think he can look at that and really enjoy it. And I know that he's probably going to get some grief also from people saying, well, you should just focus on nothing but the racing and not do this other stuff. But I think he's trying to make the most of this entire ride and experience that he's on, which I think we would all like to. You would like to look back and be like, man, when I had a factory 450 ride in Supercross, those are the best days of my life. Not that sucked, the pressure, the torture, the pain, the sacrifice. So I think Cole's just trying to enjoy it, which, you know, I think you should. It's what everyone dreams of having, and he's got it. But it happens all the time, man. It happens to me. I get caught up in it. I literally am doing exactly what I wanted to do when I was a kid. But day to day, it's just work, man. And it's really hard to put yourself in the perspective of saying, are you kidding me? This is better than any other job I could have ever had in my life. They pay me for this? You should really be walking around with a smile all day. It's tough when you're ambitious. You always want to do better, and you sometimes lose perspective. So Cole's had it in so many ways, cutting in both directions right now. Coming back from injury, happy that he's been able to come back. Obviously wants better results. It almost happened, by the way, in Colorado. He was working on a 4th place finish in the first 450 moto. That would have been a big ray of light for him, but then he fell and ended up finishing 9th. So it just looks like another top 10-ish performance, which is where he's been all year. But there were definitely signs of life there. Anyway, I just love the dual sport bike. I've always wanted to do this. I'm going to give away my idea right now. I've always had this dream that someone goes to Daytona Bike Week, someone who can ride better than me, and enters a dual sport in a big variety of events. I wanted to call it One Bike Week, and someone races flat track with it, Supercross, GNCC. I don't think they have the Alligator Enduro during Daytona Bike Week anymore, but that could have been another one. And then, of course, you take that dual sport down on Main Street at Daytona and do a bunch of burnouts with the Harley guys with your neon-colored motocross gear and your full-face helmet and boots on, and have them point and laugh or maybe even beat you up. I think that'd be a great part of the story. So I've always had this vision of seeing a dual sport really stretch to its limits, but Cole Seely has blown that out of the water. He did real Supercross laps. I thought that was awesome, and I think it's really impressive that he did the work himself. That's it for the show this week. Again, Racer X, check out our magazine. It's been redesigned. We have an all-new digital edition. Everything in the magazine is completely different than what we have on the website or on social media. A new issue is coming within a few days. I don't know if it's supposed to be a secret or not. I wrote a story about Dylan Ferrandis and Chase Sexton, our newest 250 Supercross champions. They didn't have the hype. They're probably not as big of a name, either of them, as Austin Forkner or Adam Cianciarulo, the riders who we thought were going to win those Supercross titles. But there are definitely different paths to making it to the top of the sport. Those two have shown it. They're in contention here in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross as well. But it's Adam Cianciarulo and Justin Cooper who have gotten the jump on everyone right now. They've won all the motos. They've won all the overalls. And they've got a little heat going because Cooper is not happy about Cianciarulo going off the racetrack and, in his mind, not losing enough time or losing any time with the off-track excursion. I feel like if you look at the rule book, I think what Adam did was okay. But if you're Justin Cooper, you want to win a race. You want the big bonus. I can tell you, Cooper actually told me, by the way, the difference between finishing second and first in a race for him, I'm not going to give you the exact total, but it's about the price of a new car. Right there. in one day, the difference between first and second. Think about that. So obviously Justin was a little aggro in his comments after the race. Probably heard it. We usually post the post-race press conferences on the RacerX Podcast Network, so that'll be interesting as we go into High Point with weekend off. Also, shout out to Daniel Blair and his show. I'm not bothering to listen to it because the show's garbage, but hopefully you do. Hopefully you like it. I don't know. We're posting it on the network. Just kidding. Daniel's awesome, and so is his crazy crack staff that he has. The Hindtown show is nutty, or extremely nutty. Normally his show's nutty. That one was extremely nutty. So, RacerX Podcast Network, we keep expanding. RacerX, we keep expanding the magazine, the digital content, the digital edition. You can get the magazine for your dad. So go to racerxonline.com/thanksdad for our Father's Day special. Subscribe for him, and we'll give you 6 issues of our new digital edition free for yourself. But most importantly, our title sponsor here is Yoshimura. Check them out, yoshimura-rd.com. Cole Seeley's got one hanging out of the back of his Dual Sport. He's got 2 of them hanging off the back of his factory bike. I don't think he's going to have a Yoshimura exhaust on this 2-stroke that he's building because Yoshimura has never made 2-stroke exhaust systems. These are just facts. Maybe they could put a logo on there. Maybe they'll develop one. Maybe this will be the first time. Who knows? Cole Seeley making things happen. Thanks for listening to our show. We will be back next week.